Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show. Once again, we're back at you from the dungeon. It's your boy, Roderick McDaniel, and the greatest co-host in the world, the man with the master plan for the PC race, Brandon Bowie. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Not a lot, man. We're back together.
Again.
Going to do some picking of your brain again.
Again.
People seem to like it when I pick your brain.
Oh, no.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw some topics at you. Once we get into these topics, we'll start kind of breaking things apart. This week, I'd like to start with film and television.
Okay.
You mentioned something to me, and I think that when we were doing these stories, we were picking everything for the show tonight. We did not realize what was about to happen. We did not realize that there seemed to be a theme running through these tonight.
All but one.
All but one
All
story.
but one.
There's a theme. If you're a very astute, very observant listener, you're going to pick up on this theme very quickly. I say we start with the first story, something near and dear to my heart, Star Wars. Let's start in the Star Wars movie universe.
So it looks like James Earl Jones is actually coming back to reprise his role as Darth Vader in Rogue One.
Yes!
So that's going to be awesome. I don't know. How do you see him having a big part in this film, or do you see it like being a cameo kind of thing?
No, man, okay, here's the thing to think about this one. This is leading up to the base that we know is going to get eventually blown up.
Yeah.
So I see him, if they're bringing him back, prominent role. Prominent role in this movie, because this is going to be about them getting onto it, getting the plans for it. He can't.
I mean,
I
could see him having like a cameo, not really like a cameo, but not a large role, because it's her sneaking onto a base that he may or may not be at, or so he may like show up or something along those lines. I think it's going to be kind of that Jaws type of thing where he's there, but he's not really intricate or a part of the story, kind of like what they did with the first few episodes of Daredevil, where everybody talks about Wilson Fisk, but you never see Wilson Fisk. And then he's going to show up somewhere in there, because I'm pretty sure that the character that they're portraying in this film isn't going to have force powers. So if she went up against Darth Vader, I'm pretty sure it would be over pretty quick.
But my thing is this. Why bring... Okay, James Earl Jones, he didn't do the voice of Darth Vader for the cartoon series.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number of, Star Wars television projects that he's not voiced.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you bring him back just for a cameo?
I don't know. Why would you put Mark Hamill in Episode 7 when he's literally going to be in the last, 5 seconds of the film and not have any lines at all?
Because we know he's going to be in the second film.
Well... That's sure, but
and they had to introduce him that they found it.
They basically paid him a fuckload of money to come on and stare angrily at the camera.
Bro,
they could do the same thing. Like James Earl Jones doesn't even have to show up to this. Like he just shows up and does a voiceover and then he's gone.
He could come in and
they
go.
Could have already filmed all of his, or already shot all of his lines, or recorded all of his lines.
Because that's all he's got to do. He's just going to come into a vocal booth, drop down lines, and roll out.
Yeah.
But I plan on seeing this film.
Oh yeah,
week,
I'm going to be there opening day.
And the minute I hear his voice, might have to wear 2 pair of pants. I'm just saying, James Earl Jones.
Just they have these Depends.
Yeah, they're going to need
quite
them.
Dependable.
I'm gonna need them. It's going to be a great thing. Now, here's the thing that's getting me about this. What's so funny about this story is I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of our competition, listening to a lot of podcasts. Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs has a great. Absolutely amazing podcast.
Yeah.
And it's called That's the Way I Heard It. And if you get a chance, you need to download it. There's only one episode that's really amazing, and it's about the grapefruit. And it's this amazing story about this teacher who had all these kids in his class, but there was this one kid in his class who had a really bad stutter. Kid would not talk, and he realized that anytime they started talking about poetry, this one kid would come alive. It just, something about poetry spoke to him. So what he did is he made everybody write poems about something near and dear to their heart. This kid wrote a poem about grapefruit. Now, it seemed that they were in upper Michigan during the winter, and dysentery was going around really bad that winter. And so the fruit sellers, like basically the state of Michigan was getting Florida to send them citrus fruit to distribute to lower income families during the winter. Okay. And it's this great story that Mike Rowe tells. It's maybe 6 or 7 minutes long about this kid who writes this amazing poem about grapefruit. And it's so beautiful and it's so articulate. The teacher says, I'm going to make this kid read it, the kid that stutters. And the way he got the kid to read it was he told the kid, I think you cheated and I don't think you wrote this. And if you wrote this, you should be able to read this. And what happened is the kid ends up reading it and this booming, authoritative voice came out and he didn't stutter when he read it. And that was the story of James Earl Jones. And it's a super powerful story, great episode. And like I say, it's Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. His podcast is available on iTunes. It's in the market. Because I was in the market because your boys, Team Lift, are in the marketplace on iTunes. So I was like, let me see what some other podcasts sound like. I'm always wanting to hear what people are doing and learn from the greats. And he has a great episode. So to have heard James Earl Jones' story this week and then to see this story, that he's coming back, super geeked for me. I am super, super pumped for this. So I cannot wait to see what happens. And I hope he has, even if he has 30 minutes worth of lines, it's just going to be amazing to see that character again on the big screen.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people love Vader. Okay, let's move on to the next character. This one we're going to go to TV, the DC universe.
DC.
DC's doing it right on TV.
Oh, yeah.
They got it on lock on TV right now. We're going to talk right now about one of their shows, Legends of Tomorrow. There has been some news that Maisie Richardson Sellers has landed the role of Vixen. Yes, she's... Now, a lot of you guys that are watching the Arrow universe are saying, wait a minute, there's already a Vixen in there. Okay. And now, what we found out is...
This show actually has a lot to do with time travel. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yes.
But this is going to be a, great-granddaughter?
She's
granddaughter?
the granddaughter of Marie McCabe.
Who played Vixen
on
previously.
Arrow. Yeah,
on Arrow.
and she's also on the CW's animated series for Vixen. So she's the granddaughter of the Vixen character that we've already been introduced to. So that's going to be good. She's going to be on there. So it looks like now we already know that CW is coming with a 4-night block of DC. So they're going to have Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, and they're going to have Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah. And they're all going to be crossing over for at least the first 3 or 4 episodes because of Flashpoint.
Right. And we know
they're
that's
bringing
coming.
in Superman.
There has been a Superman cast. I think we got into that last episode.
Yeah, we did.
We really got into that. I'm really excited. Now, the thing I was not aware of, so Captain Cold, Hawkman, and Hawkgirl all left the crew.
Yeah.
At the end in the season finale.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so
I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, they do leave the show.
we know they've left. They're no longer on the ship traveling with them for some reason.
Yeah.
So get caught up on that. We're not going to ruin it for you, but we do know that they are bringing in some new blood. Vixen. You think there'll be any other new characters coming to the show? Have we heard anything yet?
What was his name? Dr. Fate?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's hints of the Justice Society of America.
We've been hearing that
tied in with this season. So Dr. Fate, I think, is coming on as a recurring character, and then
Well, if you have Jay Garrick,
they may bring Jay Garrick on too.
if you have Jay Garrick, then Dr. Fate was in the Justice Society with them. Not a hard stretch.
So maybe Dr. Fate and the Jay Garrick that we met in season 3 of Flash are from the same. Or I'm sorry, the end of season 2 of Flash. Technically, I guess it's going to be season 3 too. But yeah.
So we're going to have to keep our eyes out on that. Pretty happy to see that. So Maisie Richardson Sellers, congratulations on that. Another one. Let's get into this one. This is where it gets really interesting. Also this week, now I don't remember what day this came out. I want to say it was June 20th. So yeah, June 20th, the announcement that Hannibal Buress is joining the cast of Sony and Marvel's Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, we knew Spider-Man Homecoming has been getting big, okay?
Yeah.
We pretty much knew at the end of Civil War, hate to spoil it for anybody, but you've had enough time to see this movie. At the very, very end, the last scene at the end of the credits, Tony Stark gives Spider-Man a gift. That's like a bat signal, but Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So we know this. So and then the words are Spider-Man will return in.
It's I think in 2017.
Yeah, so we
like
knew that. They kind of told us that we are rebooting the Spider-Man.
Yeah, July 7th, 2017. That's when it's gonna ship.
Yeah, so
next summer.
We've been pretty much watching this whole thing ever since that happened. We kind of knew Spider-Man was coming. Since Civil War, we've now been given the title Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
We also have been given a list of people. This one got, a couple of weeks ago, we got really excited. We heard Donald Glover was coming.
That's a big one.
Because there was a big thing a couple years ago where Donald Glover wanted to play Miles Morales. And for people who aren't caught up on the comic book, let's get into this.
Okay, so it wasn't that Donald Glover wanted to play Spider-Man. It's that everybody on the internet wanted Donald Glover to play
and that started
Miles
on
Morales.
Reddit.
Yeah.
We got to say this. It was a big Reddit
Twitter,
thing, and it blew up from there.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Donald Glover got wind of what was going on the internet and said, I would do that if people really wanted it.
Yeah.
He was actually excited about the idea, even put some legs to it by trying to reach out to the producers in the Marvel Universe.
And this was when Sony was still was starting to do the Amazing Spider-Man stuff.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of knew Donald Glover's looking at this whole thing. His name gets announced. The internet went crazy. They kind of freaked out, especially people who have been tracking Spider-Man over the years.
I freaked out. I was
you were super
come on,
excited.
Let's do it.
Because you were like, is he going to be Miles Morales? What is he doing? What is he going to be? Why is he? We know Spider-Man is white. Are they going to give us two Spider-Mans? So the rumors are flying. They still haven't confirmed who his character is or what his character is.
Yeah.
Then we know Zendaya, who is a lot of people may not know her. She was a girl that was on that show, Disney Shake It Up.
Never heard of it.
Okay, Shake It Up was this show about two girls that were in a dance crew, and they were dancers, and they ended up getting on this show that filmed in Chicago where they were like Soul Train dancers on this show, right?
Okay.
It was on Disney. If I didn't have daughters, I probably wouldn't know this, but if you get a chance, Google Zendaya. Beautiful girl, super talented. She actually has done, there's some Coke commercials. She's on some Coke commercials singing. So she's done some things. Super attractive girl. Super attractive. She is now going to be in the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what she's going to do. I'm leaning toward love interest.
Maybe.
But she's not Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Mary Jane didn't look like Beyonce and have all that ass. So I'm just saying, Mary Jane was cute, but she wasn't Beyonce. And so we're not sure who Zendaya is going to play.
Gwen Stacy, maybe?
Is the world ready for a black Gwen
awesome.
Stacy? I mean, she's mixed. I don't think the world's ready for a mixed Gwen Stacy.
The world wasn't ready for having another white Spider-Man either, though. Because if you watched, like, when they announced that Tom Holland was going to be Spider-Man, everybody freaked the fuck out. They were like, why isn't it
Why we're not doing the Miles Morales story? And here's the thing. Comic book sales are saying the Miles Morales stories are outselling the Peter Parker stories right now.
Yeah.
We've been tracking this. We've been looking at comic book sales. Miles Morales, even when they brought him into the Marvel Universe, made him a member of the Avengers, his comic book, the regular Spider-Man title,
day to day,
which I have the first 4 issues of, and it's a freaking amazing read. He's in there. This is the Miles Morales universe. He exists. Peter Parker's doing his thing. He's blowing up. Peter Parker has now become more like a Tony Stark character in the Marvel universe. He's a very successful scientist. He's running his own corporation, Parker Industries.
Yeah.
He's building a name for himself. He's no longer hiding in the shadows. He is out in the open fighting crime as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Great story. I'm really enjoying it. Miles Morales, though, is now the geeky kid trying to keep his identity hidden. Can't let his family find out. Can't let his teachers find out. He's doing poorly in school.
So you get the two dynamics of Spider-Man
monthly
at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm really loving what Marvel has done with Spider-Man. So not quite sure what they're going to do. The thing that's got us blown away, the new name, Hannibal Buress.
Yeah.
The comedian has now been attached to the Spider-Man project.
In what capacity? I have no clue. I don't know why, but I keep thinking he's going to be like a teacher. Like he's going to be one of the teachers at Spider-Man school.
They haven't we don't even know who the villains are in this movie.
Actually, we do. It's Falcon. Falcon?
No.
What was my brain? I don't know why it went
Who
to
did
Falcon.
you say is going to be the villain for this one?
Michael Keaton is playing the villain. I cannot remember which villain he's playing.
Wait, Michael Keaton's attached to this project?
Yes.
So we have Zendaya, we have Donald Glover, Hannibal Buress, Marissa Tomei, Michael Keaton is the villain, and those are the big names. I think those are the big names that we know are attached to this.
Let's see. Let's look up IMDb
I
because
actually
I know
wanna
I'm
know who he's
completely
playing.
wrong, but I'm sort of right. Vulture. Vulture. That's who it is.
Oh,
Not Hawkman.
oh. He's going to play the Vulture.
Yeah, the Vulture.
Could get interesting. Could get interesting very quickly. All right. We're going to definitely have to watch that. So they're still filming that. And you know how Marvel is. They're not letting out too many secrets. Okay. So I don't know if people are paying attention.
The theme
is still running. So let's jump to the next set of movies. This one here, Marvel Studios and Fox, after the success of Civil War and how well Spider-Man worked.
This is all rumor mill.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're rumoring that possibly X-Men and Fantastic Four may be taking the Spider-Man route and being lent back to Marvel to do creative and to bring them into the greater Marvel universe. So at some point, we may have Deadpool running around with everybody, which just makes everything better.
Okay, so let's look at this. Sony and Marvel came together and they loaned them out Spider-Man. Sony made a buttload of money off of that deal.
Yeah.
Because they got paid on the back. They got paid on it too. So they were just as happy with that box office for that. They knew that the fans were receptive to it. And I felt that the fans being receptive to it is going to play over when Spider-Man comes out because they're receptive to it.
I just think that we don't want another Fantastic Four movie like the Fantastic Four movies that we've been getting. Those are flopping left and right.
Oh, Fantastic Four was terrible.
If they don't make another... So this is the deal that... part of the deal that Marvel made when they sold off all their properties in the late 90s when they were dying is that the movies... every so many years, a movie had to be distributed, and it had to be distributed to X number of theaters. I think it's like 40 or 50, which is just a laughable amount of theaters, in order for them to be able to keep a hold of the property. And they get to keep it indefinitely so long as they continue that trend. So there was a Fantastic Four movie that was made in the 90s by Roderick that was fucking horrible. Then there was the Fantastic Four movies that we got where Captain America was...
Chris Evans played the Human Torch.
I
like those. They weren't
super cheesy
great,
and they didn't
but they were cheesy.
Yeah. They were super cheesy and they didn't really follow kind of canon, I guess.
Not at all.
Which is part of the problem. And then there's the Fan 4 stick, which came out recently, which I'm always going to fucking refer to it like that because that's the way it is on the poster. It says Fan 4 stick. So Fan 4 stick was just an abominable piece of shit. So if they don't want to make another flop, they need to give the property back to Marvel, at least as a creative head and running the show. And the X-Men is kind of weird because the X-Men is not good, or at least they were not good, but they had good elements in them.
The X-Men have been great movies, I feel. I feel okay.
But they ruin all the characters. That's the problem.
There's so many times that they've done the story wrong, but we always give the X-Men a pass.
Yeah.
The X-Men is like an abusive relationship for us.
Yeah.
It really is. We love them, and we hope they'll change, and we keep giving them chance after chance after chance. The X-Men film series is an abusive relationship with its fans.
And then they vomit Ivan on us.
Yeah, and then that was the thing. So, like, let's face it, Apocalypse made money. It made a good deal of money.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But I don't want to say it was terrible.
Yeah.
But there were some things that I was like, that's terrible.
It wasn't like there were parts of it where I was like, yeah, that's awesome. But then on the other hand, I knew that none of it was right. It was like it was like X-Men Apocalypse. It was not X-Men Apocalypse. It was X-Men Hair Origins.
Yes.
Because within that movie, like, you found out where, like, I mean, it didn't happen that way in the comic books, but you find out where Storm gets her hair from, and you find out where
Beast
gets his hair from, and you find out where Professor X gets his hair from. Like, I mean, it's just hair.
We got a lot of hair follicles origin stories.
Yeah.
We really did.
All of them.
Okay. And so, I mean, it was okay. We'll say it was an okay film.
Yeah.
It was an okay film. Did really well at the box office. Comic book fans were a little annoyed because it's just once again, you have a chance to give us something great. The Apocalypse story was amazing, and you gave us this.
Part of what's fueling this rumor
Yes.
is
This is when Matt Key, a producer
yeah.
on Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman podcast, he shared this following and highly speculative rumor. This was what he said. Now, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. This is exactly what Matt said. Matt said, "I've heard from a few of my sources, my little birds, that Fox and Marvel have kind of talked, but not really. But like, there's interest from Fox, like, oh, you know, what they did with Sony and Spider-Man is actually pretty cool. Like, maybe, you know, we're years away from getting that ever possibly happening, but I think that's what it would take, Fox joining hands with Marvel." That was all he said.
Yeah. But the thing that's further fueling this, though, is the fact that Inhumans has basically been just wiped away. Like, there's no release date for it.
Yeah,
it had a release date. It had a release year. Like, it was set.
It was on the calendar for the Marvel film franchise.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe it's just coincidence, because the Inhumans weren't really the best thing to happen to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But I don't know. I mean, it could be that, or it just could be that they're going to bring X-Men in, because originally the Inhumans seemed to be being used as if they were a replacement for not having X-Men.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
No, that was seriously. The Inhumans have, you know, because of the Terrigen Mist in the comic books, developed mutant-like powers.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's very easy, you know, to become an Inhuman if you get exposed to the Terrigen Mist. So I could see where, you know, Marvel Universe says, hey, we don't have mutants, but we could get the same effect if we created the Inhumans. And the Inhumans are a comic book series that's been around from the 70s, you know. They were very powerful heroes in their own right.
Yeah.
You know, the King, Black Bolt, was the king of the Inhumans. His wife, Medusa, with the red hair, you know, they were a very powerful group. So I would say even on the same level of popularity during the 70s with the X-Men.
Yeah.
You know, they were popular when I was a kid. I remember seeing them. So it's, you know, it's kind of cool to see that there's a possibility that Fox may want to get into bed with them on that. We're going to have to wait and see, though. It's a wait and see at this point. Nothing but rumor.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to stay in the movie universe. We're going to talk about an event that just came and went already. The event, Denver Comic Con.
Yeah, this is where our theme kind of breaks off.
This is where the theme breaks off, and we hope you've been paying attention to the theme. So, Denver Comic Con, great actor, Mr. Urban.
Carl Urban.
Did you ever watch Carl Urban when he was on that show on Fox?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was the cop.
Almost Human, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. That show was awesome, and I have no idea why the fuck they canceled it.
Ratings.
Fuck ratings. Ratings are bullshit.
This was the well-written, amazing show.
Yeah.
Kim, my wife, who, thank God she's becoming kind of a geek fan. You know, I think marriage to me makes that happen to you. She's become somewhat of a geeky fan. She watched every episode of Almost Human. Loved the show.
Yeah.
Hated the cancellation. I was definitely disappointed with that, but it did happen, and so, you know, it is what it is. Carl was at Denver Comic Con. Carl drops this nugget on everybody. Dredd 2 is in development.
It's about fucking time.
Did you watch Dredd 1?
I watched it in the theater opening day and loved every fucking minute of it.
First of all, this is the Judge Dredd we should have always had.
Oh, yeah.
This was the Judge Dredd that was gritty.
Mm-hmm.
It was brutal. It was action-packed. It was actually a pretty solid story.
Yeah.
I mean, it had some suspenseful moments, you know. How are they getting out of this? It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Not that cheesy crap that Stallone gave us. This was a Judge Dredd film that Judge Dredd comic book fans had waited years to see.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a Dredd 2, which to me blows me away that they were able to keep that secret this long. Because there was no word of that coming out until he said it at Denver Comic Con.
I don't think that it was necessarily being hidden. I do think that it's one of those things that's like, you know, Futurama coming back to television, where the audience was like, fucking make this, and somebody finally decided to listen to the fans. I mean, we're in fan service heaven right now as far as comic book movies are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And this original film, the original Dredd 3D, was a fan service film. Like, Karl Urban never takes the fucking helmet off.
Ever.
You never see his face. He's not supposed to. Like, Karl Urban is actually a fan of the comics. Like, this is what he used to read when he was a kid and still reads to this day. He loves the character. He knows the character inside and out. He has that thing that makes a movie great when the actor really understands the character inside and out.
All right, yeah, he did. And it was beautiful. And the thing is, what I liked about this is he said they're developing the story, but they haven't figured out the platform. So this could end up, the way he said it, it could be a movie. It could be a Netflix series. It could end up on Amazon. They haven't figured out the platform, but the story is in development. So that means they're seriously working on something for the fans right now. The other thing a lot of people may not remember about the first Dredd, Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, plays Cersei, was in that first Dredd movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of people may not remember that. She was in it. So I can't wait to see how that's all going to play out. I'm getting kind of excited about it. As a Dredd fan, I'm super excited about it. All right. So let's go ahead. Should we go ahead and tell them what the theme was?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them what the theme was.
Okay, if you guys were listening, the theme, and we did not even notice it was a theme until 3 minutes before we started recording this show. We looked at all the movies. So we started with the James Earl Jones story. Then we had the Spider-Man story, right? We hit the Legends of Tomorrow story in Macy. And we did not realize that every freaking comic book movie or TV show we were talking about, every character was a character of African-American descent. These were all black characters. And this was big news. These were all black characters, black actors playing characters in comic book movies. You said something that made me think.
And then we come to X-Men, which is essentially just about...
That was Stan Lee's whole take on civil rights movement. And hating people for being different. And Stan Lee has gone on record saying that. That was how he dealt with the whole civil rights issue, was through the X-Men and their struggle.
Professor X is Martin Luther King, and
exactly.
And Magneto is
he was Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. Sorry,
he
my
was
brain
Malcolm
stopped.
X. And we didn't realize we were about to do a Black History Month show. This is
February already?
This is as close as we're getting to a Black History Month show. But when we started looking at it, we didn't realize it till we were like kind of putting everybody on the board, and we were looking at all the actors and stuff, and we went, wait a minute, Zendaya, Macy, Richard Sellers, Hannibal Buress, James Earl Jones. This is a lot of black people we're about. Donald Glover. This is a lot of black actors we're about to talk about. The only white people we talked about in that whole thing was Karl Urban and Dredd.
And
Michael Keaton is the Vulture.
That's it.
So we did not do that on purpose, but we kind of picked on the idea that we got a theme going here. We're going to deal with our theme. We are going to talk about something that kind of we've seen it happen in a lot of movies. And I kind of sent this story to you this week. We've seen this happen in movies. We've seen this happen in video games. Somebody's trying to do this in real life.
I don't know why they're trying to do this in real life. It sounds like the worst idea possible.
Okay, well, here's the weird part. I had to go do digging for this. They've been not only this story that I brought to you was published in the Telegraph, a UK newspaper. This came out in May of this year. I could find articles that they've been trying to do this as far back as 2013. There have been companies trying to do this exact thing that these guys are trying to do. Okay,
this
so
terrible idea. We've been
super
working
terrible
on it for
idea
over 2 years.
So we kept everybody in suspense. We're going to tell you what the idea is. There's a groundbreaking trial to see if it is possible to regenerate the brains of dead people, and it has won approval from health watchdogs. I want everybody to just take a moment to just let that marinate.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's kickstart the zombie apocalypse.
That's really what we were thinking, because we were like, wait a minute, have they not played Resident Evil?
Have you not been watching The Walking Dead for the last 5 years?
Yeah, what's going on with you? I mean, nobody
just made a call to George A. Romero and went, hey, do you think this is okay?
Yeah. I mean, he's not. Is he available? I think he's available. He goes to Comic Cons. He's available. Somebody should have asked him, hey, we got this idea. We got 20 dead cadavers, and we're going to try to regenerate their brains. Why? That's the first question. Why?
I mean, the only thing that I can think of, I don't want them to bring the brains back to life. I think that's the worst fucking idea possible. But it would be really nice if we could pull data out of somebody. Just pull the data out of their head. Like, say if somebody gets murdered, if you could get the last images that they saw before they died, like get the face of their killer or something like that. That would be a good use of that data. It would be a good use of that technology. But I do not want zombies. Fuck zombies.
But here's the thing. Now, here, people are going to think we're joking about this. So what we're going to do, we've been realizing we need to start putting this up. We're going to create a Facebook fan page, and it's going to be called Fans of. We decided Fans of Team Live.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so we're kicking around the name, but we're going to have a Facebook fan page. It's going to actually deal with this story. I have it. I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it here. These scientists are going to use a combination of therapies. So they're trying everything from injecting the brain with stem cells and a cocktail of peptides, as well as deploying lasers and nerve stimulation techniques, which have been shown to bring patients out of comas.
Death is not a fucking coma, okay?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing about these guys. The trial participants will have had to been certified dead and only kept alive through life support. Wait a minute.
So they're not actually working on dead people? They're working on people who are in comas that are so deep they're brain dead?
I guess they're brain dead. So these are people who the machine
I
is
mean,
the only
still
thing
it's
keeping
going to
them
result
alive.
in fucking zombies.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with this whole idea. You know, it's like, what do they always say in movies? You should never play God. You don't have the power over life and death. You're an atheist, and even you don't want them to do that.
That's a bad idea.
You were like, no.
It's a bad idea.
This is zombies.
This is a bad idea.
This is zombies. Look, I played Left 4 Dead. I played all the Walking Deads.
You are Left 4 Dead. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, big black guy, I do have a shotgun and baseball bats, and I'm not scared to use it on somebody that's hungry and trying to bite my black ass. I'm going to be the guy to know. Okay, I'm just saying, I will be a guy to hang out with when they do the testing. I'm not comfortable with this. It's nothing about this makes sense to me. I think it's a terrible, terrible idea. And you and I are going to keep this. We're going to be watching this one. Like, I am seriously going to be watching this. And here's the thing. We hope to see results within the first 2 to 3 months. Now, if that was in May, bro, if they were starting that in May, won't July be our 3rd month of this?
And there's stuff in here, like they're talking about if they do bring them back, you know, they may not have any memories at all. So they'd have to basically just restart their whole life. Like, would you really want your completely brain dead child or loved one to come back and not remember anything?
First of all, you know what that's like? You ever played a roguelike game
Mm-hmm.
and you die in the dungeon and you lose everything?
Yeah.
We're about to put people through Dark Souls, the real life version. Here's my thing. Let's say you go to the other side. All right? I've watched all the Insidious movies. Let's say you bring back some haunting shit with you from the other side.
This is why I keep saying this is a bad idea.
Okay, I don't want you to bring back no zombies, and I don't want you to bring back no devil shit from the Insidious movies. Why are we doing this with dead bodies?
I mean, if you're gonna do these types of experience, you should at least do them in Texas, where everybody's fucking armed. You know?
Yeah. Hey, did you not see that new movie, The Lazarus Effect?
No, I didn't.
It's on Netflix. This movie is The Lazarus Effect. The girl died. The husband said, "No, we can do it." No warning, no test. Brings her back. He brings back this beast that's chunking. This little 110-pound girl is chunking dudes my size around the room and killing people.
I mean, I've seen Pet Sematary, and we all know how that went.
Bro, I'm not with this. I'm not with this. And look at this. However, although brain-dead humans are technically no longer alive, their bodies can often still circulate blood, digest food, excrete waste, balance hormones, grow, sexually mature, heal wounds, spike a fever, gestate, and deliver a baby. Oh, so we going to have zombie babies.
Yeah.
I'm not with this. I'm not with anything in this. We will keep tracking on this one. People think we're playing about this. This is a real thing. This is where science maybe has gotten a little too out of control, and we might need to just get them hooked up with some Resident Evils.
So let's talk about science for the good of humanity.
I'm all for this one. Okay.
So there is a consortium of 6 international companies that work together with NEC Corporation. They used to make monitors. They make all kinds of high-tech stuff. Google is also a part of this 6-company consortium. They've laid a 9,000 kilometer submarine cable that links Japan and the West Coast of the United States. And it's doing so by, let's see, I want to say it was, it's called Faster.
Yep, the name of the company is Faster.
No, the name of the cable system is Faster.
I thought it was the name of
the name of the company is NEC Corporation.
Is that what it is? Okay.
The Faster is the name of the cable and the initiative.
See, but, this is Faster, a consortium of international companies. So this is the group and together with its supplier, the NEC Corporation.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of groups coming together to do this, though.
60 terabit per second of bandwidth on a 6-fiber paired cable across the Pacific. It's literally faster than what's already in place between that side of the world and this side of the world. I mean, that's just great.
This is the most amazing. Okay, here's what gets me. Do you realize when it's supposed to be ready for operation? Tomorrow. June 30th. It was supposed to be ready for operation June 30th, 2016. Now, what I don't think, now the system has extended connections to major hubs on the West Coast. We do know it's going to be covering Los Angeles, the San Francisco Bay, Portland, and Seattle. There are also going to be 2 landing points in Japan, facilitate the cable's easy access to major cities in Japan. This is a big deal.
It's a big deal. I mean, that's a lot of Netflix.
That's a lot of
a lot of Netflix, bro.
A lot of stuff, and a lot of people are not realizing. Google is all about this kind of technology being in our hands and the cost, it being cost effective for us. They're not trying to charge you a bunch of money to get this kind of internet.
Well, I mean, realistically, this particular cable is not really serving individuals. It's serving the area, and then that bandwidth is being divided between all of the different companies who need to move data from that side of the world to this side of the world back and forth.
That's a vast amount of...
Bro,
that's like a blink of an eye.
So, I mean, think about this, though. What this is going to do is allow for, like, gamers. So if gamers from that side of the world want to play against people in the U.S. or vice versa, that traffic's going to flow a lot faster, a lot easier. There's going to be a lot more bandwidth for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do another cable like this that goes from, say, the continental United States to Europe.
So from the East Coast.
Yeah.
I can see that. Because
I mean, this didn't take them very long to do. They started this shit in 2014.
And they were done.
They announced in August 2014 by the Faster Consortium, and it's already done.
That blows me away.
It's like
this is amazing.
2.5 years, maybe.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, well, let's think about it. August 2014, they're coming in ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
they're coming in 2 months ahead of schedule. So they were just 2 months under 2 years.
Yeah.
So pretty impressed with that. We're going to see what happens. I know that. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. This week, Brendan did something I thought was super sketchy. He was able to get a Vive through Craigslist.
Yeah.
At a great deal. I'm not going to put the price out there. People don't need to know. Got it at a great price.
Yeah.
And it wasn't stolen. It was a legitimate Vive.
Legitimate. The guy bought it. He actually pre-ordered it in January. He received it on the second wave of Vives that were distributed,
right.
I think in April, May. He'd used it for a while. He just basically found that he didn't have enough space for it to his liking, and that he wasn't really using it as much as he thought he was going to. So now I'm using it all the time, hurting myself.
Yes. Let's get into this. Before we get into this story, we're going to talk about
If I'd have known 10 years ago that VR was going to happen, this fat belly would not have happened. I would have stayed in shape.
Bro, you're going to have to get a gym membership to use this thing. And the reason we say this is before we shot the show, before we recorded the show tonight, I came over to the dungeon, came over early, and I took it for a test run. So we did the lab, which was Valve.
Yeah.
Love that. And so we had archery in there, and we had...
Basically Angry Birds.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, where we were launching stuff. I like that one. Slingshot, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So we had fun with the lab. I'm going to say with Longbow, the archery game, it did not take me long to get that, and I was putting a beat down on that pretty quick. But the thing that got me was my freaking arms were tired. Like, you could feel the controller kind of felt like I was really pulling
tension onto a bow.
You could feel it.
And that's the haptics. I mean, that's the same haptics that are built into the Steam controller that I'm using right now to control the PC from the couch.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I could feel like I was pulling on a bow. My arm started getting tired, like I had been holding up that bow for a while. And it was, I felt my arm was really, straining.
Oh yeah,
like I was
you were
working
getting
muscles,
into it, man.
Yeah, I was tired. My arms are still a little sore. My ass hurts for some reason. Like I was flexing my ass and like taking shots
That's
to aim
you
for
were
his shot.
you were kind of hunkering down and stuff to really get in there, and then
Yeah, I was like, I'm sore. Like I felt like I'd really went and worked out. Like I did squats in the gym.
So the first night that I got this thing, I literally was in it for 5 hours straight. I think
That's probably too long.
it was way too long. I was playing Battle Dome, which is like a first-person shooter multiplayer game.
Yes.
Where you teleport around to move, and you have a variety of guns that you can shoot. And there was a point where about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into it, where my foot cramped up so hard that it didn't uncramp for about half an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I
Whoa.
said, if I'd have known 10 years ago that VR was coming, I would not be fat right now.
Bro, no, I promise you, I'm going to get back into my weightlifting schedule pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Before I even invest in this, because that was more workout than I was ready for.
Mm-hmm.
And look, here's my thing. We already seen a game like Wii Fit,
Mm-hmm.
where people lost weight doing Wii Fit. VR is going to be a ripe market for fitness and health games.
Oh, yeah.
It's somebody's working on it. I know somebody has to be working
I mean,
on
you
one.
don't even really have to work on a fitness game per se. You just have to have a decent room scale game that makes people move. Like, just playing Battle Dome was enough to just fuck me up.
You know what my favorite game was on the Wii? Tennis.
Tennis,
And
Wii
Wii Sport.
Tennis.
And if they come up with a great tennis game in VR, done.
Yeah, I also played a Pool Nation VR for a little while against some opponents on the internet. So, you're basically inside of like a faux bar, and there's NPCs standing around.
There was talking, murmuring. I could hear drinks being poured in glasses when people were sitting glasses on the bar. Your brain starts to get tricked.
Yeah, that's the whole point. They want your brain tricked. They want you completely immersed, completely present in the place that you're in when you're playing these games.
I can tell why a horror game. I'm not ready for horror.
I wasn't even actually playing a horror game. I was playing a sword and sorcery game that's called Left Hand Path, which is kind of trying to bill itself as being like a Dark Souls inspired game that's super hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one fucking enemy that I came across in that whole thing, and it's just like the first level of this game. It's not even complete yet. It's a work in progress that's on Steam, and it's just like this zombie thing that comes over and tries to kill you, and I almost shit my pants like 2 or 3 times. Just
Bro,
like
no.
he just comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Hey, how's your butthole? How's your butthole?"
Yeah, bro. No, it was some stuff that I saw today. I was like, this is a workout. I'm not ready for horror. I don't think anybody's ready for horror in this. But definitely, I'm now a fan of VR. I'm definitely a fan of the Vive headset. I love everything about it, the controllers, the headset. So definitely want to get into that. So that's kind of, we kind of give you hyped up on Vive because we're going to discuss some Vive stuff. We're going to get into our VR stuff this week.
So, open source VR, OS VR, for those who don't know, it's kind of a third player. A lot of its funding is coming from Razer, the mice and keyboard company.
Right.
They also make laptops and stuff like that. They're helping to fund OS VR, and OS VR itself has put together a $5 million fund that it's going to try to use to keep developers from creating exclusive content for the Oculus Rift. So
Okay.
they can come to them for funding, and if they get funded, they can get an amount of money that'll keep them able to release their thing on as many platforms as possible.
Which is better for the developers anyway.
It's better for the community. I mean, that's the whole point of the PC, is that it's open and you can do whatever you want to with it. And I don't understand. I mean, I understand why Oculus is trying to do what they're trying to do with their digital rights management, but it's ultimately, I mean, we've talked about it before, it's ultimately terrible. It's like saying you can't play this game because you don't own this monitor, which
Yes.
is just absurd.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about this. The reason a lot of you listening may not know this, there's only two headsets that we really call the major players.
Yeah, the Vive,
And the Oculus Rift. All right, so the HTC, which everybody knows somebody from HTC, whether it's the phones or the tablets, HTC, and they make high quality products. They make the Vive headset. The Oculus Rift, on the other hand, not doing that well. So we knew, even though it was a small market, we were watching. We've been tracking this on Steam, and it tells us this is how many people have Vives registered to their accounts. This is how many people have Oculus Rifts registered to their accounts, and we're talking like a 0.2% versus a 0.7%.
0.9, I think.
0.9. It's like the numbers were ridiculously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even a contest.
Now
the Vive
talking,
is outselling them.
We're talking 0.09% of the total amount of Steam accounts that are available, and there's over 150 million Steam accounts.
Exactly. But so we're still talking.
We're still talking about 50, 60, 70,000
accounts.
Vives versus 20, maybe 30,000.
You may be lucky if they hit 20,000.
Oh yeah,
maybe lucky to get to 20,000.
Palmer Luckey just recently said that they managed to fix all of their delivery problems, and that if you order right now, you're not going to get your fucking Rift until August. I mean,
that doesn't sound like you fixed delivery.
That doesn't sound like you fixed shit. You're just saying that you fixed shit so that people will stop saying that the Vive fixed everything and that the Rift hasn't fixed shit yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's probably still Kickstarter backers who haven't even gotten their Rift yet. And everybody, they're trying to build this hype behind their touch controllers. And I mean, their touch controllers seem like they're going to be fairly impressive, but some people have noted that they're really small. Like some people, like if you have really big hands, you may not even be able to use that controller.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. I mean, we understand what's going on, so we kind of understood that when you're getting outsold that much at the start, you got to start doing something to bring some exclusives to you to make people want to get you. But we kind of knew from E3, we just talked about this on issue 6. Gabe Newell came out and said, hey,
yeah,
we're going to give you money.
Yeah,
we're willing to back you to not be exclusive. I feel like this is a continuation of that, where another company's coming in and saying, we're going to give you money.
And HTC's doing as well. They have a $100 million fund. Steam is going to be basically giving developers their revenue that they're going to make from selling their game ahead of time before their game actually comes out. So you have 5 different players in the industry, or no, let's see, Valve, OSVR, HTC, three players in the industry, 3 major players in the industry are all saying exclusivity is bad, and one is saying exclusivity is good, and then their only defense for their exclusivity is to point at Sony and go, they're doing it too.
Yeah, but to me, Sony is a closed system. It's not a PC system.
Yeah.
Exclusives work on consoles. That works in the console market. We can look at sales figure and say Uncharted 4 worked. But we also know where exclusives that weren't owned by that company, and we'll get our favorite one was that we always look at, and a lot of people hate to say it, was when Rockstar came out and said, hey, when we did the thing with 360 for Grand Theft Auto 4 and we said, oh, you're going to get all the content first here, we lost a lot of money. It didn't work for us to do it that way.
It didn't work for Titanfall either.
No, so this being exclusive doesn't work. It was better for us to be on all the systems at one time.
All exclusivity does is benefits the company that the item is exclusive to. It does nothing for the developers. It hurts the developers. It takes money out of their pockets. The popular phrase is it leaves money on the table.
It does.
It leaves lots of money on the table. And what's really bad is like even HTC or Oculus is pointing at Sony and going, they're the ones. They're also doing exclusivity. But Sony's actually said that they may release drivers to allow their headset to work on a PC.
Their controller does.
Their controllers work on PC. I mean, they could come into the PC fold with their headset, with their cheap $499 headset.
Well, here's the thing.
$399
if you look at their the headsets that they had made for the PS3, the Golds, we work with somebody who uses PS3 Gold headsets on his PC right now.
Yeah.
And they are amazing, sound amazing. I used to use the ones for the PS4, the wireless golds for the PS4 that are the little plastic ones, run for about $100.
Yeah.
I had that at work for months. I used that as my headset at work, and it worked for PC. So it'd be nice to see that. So I mean, we're going to see what happens. I'm starting to kind of lean away from this whole exclusive business, especially when it comes to PC, because a lot of times we can have a developer who on PC he needs to be on as many PCs as possible for them to sometimes just to break even.
Yeah.
In development time and payroll and stuff like that. So it's a lot harder, for these guys to develop there. And I like the idea of no exclusives. I like to see it, hit the market, and I want to see as many people be able to throw their money behind it, but I want them to be able to play on with the PC of their choice, or with the, equipment of their choice on PC. Yeah. So we definitely got something going on. We got a lot of subjects that we covered. I don't think we're done. We're going to come back. I want to kind of get into some stuff with you on our next episode.
Okay.
We're going to get back into some more about this VR. Also, our next episode, I got to kind of talk to you about some stuff that happened in anime.
Oh, yeah.
The season is ending this week, so a lot of my shows are wrapping up. So we'll probably need to get into some anime again. I know we've been getting a lot of email from you guys, and before we get off here, we're going to talk to you about it. We love hearing from you. And we have got some really, really dedicated fans on this show that are listening to the podcast. And as we said earlier, we're now on iTunes, so you can find us there under Team Lift. You can find the two guys lifting the box, the Team Lift logo right now. Yep. You can find us on there. And we want to thank everybody that's been listening to the show, sending your feedback, contacting us at our email. And what is our email right now? It's
goteamlift@gmail.com.
And you can also follow us on Twitter at GoTeamLift. And people have been reaching out to us, and they've been talking to us about it. So we definitely got to step our game up. We got to get back into the anime. They're like, hey, a couple episodes, you hadn't talked about anime. What's going on? We will be back with some anime for you. Is there anything you want to talk about next time we come back in? Anything?
There's some stuff that's been going on, I think, in the PC world. The release of the 480 benchmarks for that have come out. I think there's some stuff with Clash of the Clans going on.
Some stuff about them being bought out.
Yeah, they got bought out, I think.
Then Clash of Clans, and they had another game, I think Boom Beach, that was all Supercell, and I think they've been bought out. We need to get into that one. So yeah, we definitely need to get into that. Okay.
We'll get back in it, and we'll get back to it as soon as we can.
All right, guys. It's always a pleasure coming together with y'all, having you join us for this podcast. This is Roderick McDaniel.
Brandon Bowie.
And we just want to say thank you for listening, and you guys have a great night. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page at GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages at Coach Silky and at Bizide. You can direct questions and comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.